Okay, picture this. You're pulling into a Costco parking lot on a Saturday afternoon, right? And you watch a brand new pickup truck back into the spot next to yours. I mean, it is pristine, crew cab, blacked out grille, factory fresh paint, and the kind of chrome that actually kind of hurts your eyes a little bit in the direct sunlight. A guy steps out, he's wearing a polo shirt with a regional company logo, he drops the tailgate, unlatches the bed, and loads in exactly one case of bottled water and a giant pack of toilet paper. That's the haul. That is literally what the truck did today. And yet, that truck cost more than his parents paid for their very first house. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to look closely at the math, the magic, and the middle-class reality of modern vehicle ownership.
So, today we're going to do something the auto industry desperately does not want us doing. We're going to answer a really simple question. Who can actually afford a $60,000 truck? And look, I don't mean who the dealer will technically approve for a loan. I mean who can actually afford it without quietly turning their entire financial life into a slow-motion car crash. Well, let's break down the numbers and find out.
Section 1. The $50,000 base model.
You know, when we hear $50,000 truck, we instantly think luxury, right? But 50 grand basically barely buys the stripped-down cloth seat work version these days. Look at this staggering figure, $66,000. That is the actual average transaction price for a new full-size pickup in 2026. That's what the typical buyer is actually driving off the lot in. So when we talk about a $50,000 truck today, understand that we aren't even talking about the average anymore. We're talking about the absolute floor. The $50,000 truck is just the lowest rung on a ladder where the top rung is easily crossing six figures.
Section 2. The monthly payment trap.
Okay, so how are people actually affording this? Well, you walk into a dealership and they don't ask what you can afford overall, do they? No, they ask what monthly payment you're comfortable with. Let's walk through exactly how this dealership magic trick works. Step 1. You put $0 down because, let's be real, most people simply don't have 10 grand sitting around in cash. Step 2. You get handed an average 7% interest rate, and Step 3, and this is where the illusion is totally completed, they stretch that loan out to 84 months. That is 7 full years. By stretching the timeline, they shrink the monthly payment down to $754.85. And suddenly, you're sitting there thinking, under $800 a month? Yeah, I can totally handle that. So, the crucial point is what happens next. Over the life of that 84-month loan, you don't just pay 50 grand. You pay over $63,000, meaning you pay $13,407 in pure interest to the bank. You essentially just bought the bank a free used Honda Civic in exchange for the privilege of spreading your payments out. By the end of year 1, your truck is depreciated down to $40,000, but your loan balance is still sky high, leaving you completely underwater.
And this isn't just a few people. This is a massive, society-wide phenomenon. Look at this macroeconomic reality. At the end of 2025, over 20%, that's 1 in 5, of all new vehicle purchases in America came with the monthly payment of $1,000 or more. I mean, that is not a car payment anymore. That is a second rent. That's a third of a median worker's take-home pay just for the privilege of commuting to their job. The new car market has quietly become an affluent product.
Section 3. The true cost of ownership.
Let's look beyond the paperwork, because the daily reality is staggering. We know the loan payment is $755, but insurance on a new 50K truck? That's about $185. Fuel? Full-size pickups get about 18 miles per gallon, meaning you're spending around $275 a month on gas. Maintenance, including those massive heavy-duty specialty tires that can literally run $1,600 a set, that averages out to $90 a month. Add in registration and taxes, and your actual monthly burden is $1,400 every single month for 7 years.
Now, numbers on a screen are super easy to ignore, so let's see what this actually looks like on a typical Tuesday. Meet the Garcias. They're a super relatable middle-class family. Combined, they make $90,000 a year, which puts them slightly above the national median. Their take-home pay, after taxes, is $5,600 a month. The husband, Carlos, bought the truck thinking it was the quote-unquote responsible base model. So, let's run the Garcias' monthly math. Rent takes $1,850. Childcare is $1,200. Groceries take another $800, and basic utilities are $350. Now, subtract that $1,400 all-in truck cost we just calculated. The remainder? Exactly $0. They have literally nothing left.
No money for kids' clothes, no date nights, no 401k contributions, and absolutely no emergency fund. When their other car, an aging Honda, needs a repair, it's going straight onto a credit card with 24% interest. Carlos's life wasn't ruined by the truck itself, it was ruined by the math the dealership conveniently left out.
Section 4. Identity versus reality.
So, you gotta ask, if these vehicles stretch families this thin, why buy them if you aren't, working construction? Well, a major study by Strategic Vision surveyed over 250,000 owners, and this brilliantly illustrates the reality. 75% tow once a year or less, 70% go off-road once a year or less, and an astonishing 90% never use their truck for work. These vehicles have statistically become tall, expensive, gas-thirsty grocery getters. They are Costco vehicles for office managers who might, just might, buy a kayak once a decade. So why on earth do we buy them? Well, because trucks have stopped being utility tools. They have become an identity. They're the four-wheeled performance of the kind of person you want other people to think you are. They are marketed to look like rugged, working-class American values, but they're priced like luxury sports cars. They project this image of being capable and outdoorsy, even if your actual life consists entirely of a desk, a highway commute, and, strong opinions about local coffee shops. But the problem is, buying that specific identity costs $1,400 a month.
Section 5. The $1 million choice.
Let's pivot and look at the massive compounding opportunity cost of signing that 84-month paperwork. Let's just do a direct comparison here. We know the 50K truck has a total carrying cost of $1,400 a month. What if, instead, you bought a boring, reliable $20,000 used Toyota Camry? The kind of car your dentist might drive. Your total monthly cost for that Camry, loan, insurance, gas, the whole shebang, would be about $700. That isolates a massive difference, $700 every single month in pure savings. Now, here is where the long-term math absolutely hits home. What if you took that $700 monthly difference and just invested it in a basic S&P 500 index fund? Historically, that returns about 8% annually. If you did that for 30 years, you would end up with $1.04 million. Think about that for a second. That $700 difference is literally a retirement fund. It's the difference between retiring comfortably at 65 or grinding until you're 75. It's the difference between dying with options and dying with bills, all because in your 30s, you decided you really, really wanted the truck. So let's finally answer the core question of our explainer. Who can actually afford this thing? If we look at traditional financial wisdom, we use the 24-10 rule. You put 20% down, finance for a maximum of 4 years, and keep total vehicle costs under 10% of your gross income. To do that for a $50,000 truck, you need to make roughly $150,000 a year. Let that sink in. You need to be in the top 15% of American earners to afford this base model vehicle without financial stress. But the people buying them most aggressively, middle-class households making $60,000 to $100,000, stretching themselves to the absolute breaking point. The entire system, the dealer, the bank, the manufacturer, it's all designed to gently nudge you toward this vehicle because it is wildly profitable for everyone except you. Being approved for a loan is absolutely not the same as being able to afford it. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Before you sign away the next 7 years of your income, do the actual math. Ask yourself, is this manufactured identity really worth the price of your retirement? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously encourage you to go run the numbers for yourself.